Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Muscatine Today Show. It is Wellness Wednesday on the show today. I'm excited to have two different guests to talk to you guys about different wellness things, completely different wellness things, but all of those things that we need to know coming into the new year, new you, all of those fun things that we all like to say. We get excited about starting a new year off right, and this is the perfect show for you today, Wellness Wednesday on the Muscatine Today Show. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of our amazing sponsors, starting with Muscatine Power and Water, Rivo Plumbing and Heating, John Becky Insurance, thank you so much, Impact Life Blood Center, go and donate some blood if you are eligible. They need you right now in these winter months especially. Our friends over at Lutheran Living and Toyota of Muscatine, Impact Athletic Performance, who will be joining us later on the show. Suntan City Muscatine, tons of great deals. You'll see those later on the show and throughout the scroll. So go and hit them up for some of their great deals in January. Real Estate Resource Associates, Unity Point Health, Trinity Muscatine, who is also with us today for Wellness Wednesday. And Hy-Vee, of course, as we sit here in the middle of all this yummy produce, which, speaking of Wellness Wednesday, I mean, this is like the perfect department to be in. And right behind us is Wahlburgers, new and here in our town, right here inside Hy-Vee. So we'll talk more about that later, but I am excited to have Kathleen on this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So Kathleen is actually here from the public health department here in town, right. Unity Point Health, Trinity Muscatine Public Health. It's a very long,
I know, yeah,
long thing, but very important. So public health has been so busy with all sorts of things the last couple of years, but we're not talking about that.
No, today.
Not today. Like I said at the beginning of the show, you know, I think like people start off the new year, it's exciting to have like a new year and kind of that new start, but it's also sometimes daunting because we have big goals and we have all these things that we want to do not only for ourselves, but our kiddos, and we're like, okay, we're going to start this off right, we're going to, you know, start these health initiatives for ourselves, and we're going to start all these things for our kids, and, you know, we're going to have these these plans and these nightly routines and do all the right things this new year. It's January. We're starting this off right. But getting and staying healthy can be really hard.
Yeah, you can't do it all at once.
Yes, doing it all at once is just silly. But the unfortunate part is that a lot of people want to do that. They want to like jump right in. We're excited, but that's challenging.
Yeah, little steps.
Baby steps is the key. So we're going to talk a little bit about how parents can kind of help their kiddos, especially, and themselves, though, by building some healthy habits and just building those early on. Because I think as adults, it's much harder, right, to, you know, change some of those habits that we've had for years and years and years.
We're kind of set in our ways as adults.
And so much harder to try to change some of those habits that we've had forever and ever and ever.
Right.
But for our kiddos, we can do them a favor now.
Right.
We can start those healthy habits now.
Well, one of the things you want to start out with your little people is to make sure that you're getting them in for their well visits. So, you know, children need to go in and you know, have the questions asked about how they're developing, and you know how many bottles they're taking a day, or you know what kind of sleep they're getting, how many hours they're sleeping. So you know, we want to make sure that parents are taking their children in for their child visits.
I even love when the doctor asks, so how much TV are you watching? How often are you on the iPad? Because then it's not just mom like saying like you shouldn't be on that much. It's not healthy. It's like this doctor who's like, you know, like an almighty doctor in like a kiddo's mind, you know, someone who knows everything. Asking some of those questions.
Yeah, they're those experts. And it's also important to take your, you know, your adolescents and teens in for their well child visits. A lot of people don't realize that, you know, when you need a sports physical form filled out, schedule a well visit, their annual well visit. Have it done there. most insurances cover that annual well visit, so take them in and have those sports physicals filled out there,
Sure.
so you don't have to make an additional appointment.
Yep.
But they ask that too with the the older kids, about their screen time, how they're driving, what their habits are,
Yep.
alcohol and things like
Yeah.
that, their peers, and also the depression screenings are really important.
Yeah.
So with our program at First 5 at Public Health, we get referrals from primary medical providers, primary care providers. So wherever you take your child to get their immunizations or to have their well child visits, or wherever you take them when they're sick, at different age ranges, they'll do developmental screening. Mm-hmm. And so based off of that developmental screening, where they're kind of assessing what the child can do at their age.
Sure. Yep.
So they'll assess for fine motor skills, gross motor skills, personal social communication, and just how that child is developing in
Yep.
those different domains
Yep.
of development.
I always loved even, some of those resources that are available online with First 5 and some of those resources that you guys have available, where it's not like those hard questions, but it's like simple things like, is your kiddo playing with blocks and trying to, stack them? And easy questions that you're like, oh yeah, they're doing that, so it's not like you're trying to like test your kiddo at home. It's like easy everyday things that you can say, yeah, my kiddo is on track right now, or okay, we're not doing that yet, we're not even close. Maybe this is something we need to look into. So I really like how the resources that you guys offer kind of puts that into like an everyday kind of perspective, so that we can kind of say, oh, those toys that I bought, they really aren't doing that. They really just like throw them at my face. But that's a great motor skill to have, right? Throwing.
Yeah, that's a good gross motor skill.
Yes.
Yeah, and that encourages parents to, it's really, there's simple ideas to help your child, kind of catch up in those different developmental areas.
Yep.
So, if the child is having a hard time with their fine motor skills, you can string Cheerios on a little piece of string, or
lots of fun activities that you can do.
Yeah, but when the child, if any concern is identified by the developmental screening that the parent fills out, because parents know their kids best, they know what they can do, and they're very simple. If your child's medical provider does not do a developmental screen, you can ask for that. Most of the family practice and pediatric providers in our area have developmental screenings available.
Sure.
So if a parent has a concern, or if any concerns are identified on the developmental screening, then the provider can refer to First 5. So that's where we get all of our referrals, is through the medical providers in our counties that we serve. And so in Muscatine, we serve the Muscatine County, Louisa County, and Cedar County. And so those providers all can perform those developmental screenings. And then what First 5 does is we kind of follow up with that parent and make sure that we're connecting them to resources in our community, because there's a whole lot of resources in this community that can help with child development. And also, if the family has any other concerns, let's say somebody doesn't have insurance, we can help connect the entire family to resources in the community that can help, serve the family. And it's voluntary. If a child needs, some sort of occupational therapy, or needs a further assessment, like at let's say the AEA or Child Health Specialty Clinic, we can make those referrals, and but we always check with the parent first and make sure that that's something that they can do right now.
Yep, absolutely. I love how, like with you guys and so many other organizations in Muscatine, the coordination and the communication that happens is so important, and connecting people with the right resources at the right time, so that they're getting the help that they need. And it's hard to know as an individual just out in the community all of the resources that are available, because we are so lucky here in Muscatine to have so many amazing resources, but it's hard to know all of those and to know them like at the exact moment that you need them. But being able to come to a place like Public Health for some of these things and have you guys, you know, who are experts on, okay, these are the resources that are out there, and let's connect you with the right folks that are going to be able to help you out.
Right. We refer out to, you know, different agencies that are just, you know, they're the experts in what they do.
Sure.
So, you know, we have Parents as Teachers programs through the school district and through Lutheran Services in Iowa that can actually work, you know, one-on-one with the parent to help them learn different activities to do with their child to promote their development, and they can follow up on the development with screenings as well. Help families access other resources. We've got, we were talking about nutrition, so we've got the WIC clinics here in Muscatine and just about everywhere in Iowa and Louisa County and Cedar County. So they help connect families. You know, if you meet those income guidelines, you can have access to nutrition screenings and health screenings, and you know, if you're a mom who's pregnant or breastfeeding, or you've got a child up to 5, you will qualify for WIC if you meet a certain income level, and it's more than a lot of people would think, but that gives you access to nutritional foods.
Absolutely.
You know, so
just all those resources that maybe you don't have at the moment, but are out there, and we want you to take advantage of for sure. So I think, you know, I think First 5 seems like it's really about like identifying some concerns that are happening early on, and but how can that help the parents and I guess ultimately the child? Like, how does that help them identifying those things early on?
Well, you know, the child's brain like doubles by the time they're 1. By the time they're 3, I think it's like 1,000 trillion new connections are made. There is, you know, that's when all of the development and those connections are being made in those first 5 years of life. So what you're trying to do is help that child meet those developmental milestones before they start kindergarten. And you know, doesn't mean that, you know, if there is a developmental concern that you're doing anything wrong. You know, it's just you know, sometimes there's delays here and there, and you know, if a child has a speech delay, then there are, you know, programs out there that can help with, you know, kind of catching them up by the time they're you know, ready for school. Then they can you know, be ready and confident and you know, move forward.
Set your child up for success, for as much success as they can possibly have going into those first years of school. Because
and they're
it's
all
already
different.
daunting, right? To go to that first year of preschool, the kiddos are, you know, kind of timid and kindergarten, but you know, if we've done all these right things, we've checked into this First 5, and we know that, you know, all these things are happening and are doing all of the right things and connecting with the right resources, it can really help out.
Right. And so let's see, we were going to talk a little bit more about nutrition too, so I wanted to bring up the ISU Extension has a Buy, Eat, Live Healthy program, which is a really great program too. So April at ISU Extension can do one-on-one, I guess sessions with families, so they will help, you know, figure out budgets and learn how to make healthy and nutritious meals based on, you know, whatever kind of ingredients that family has around. They can you know, do this virtually on a virtual platform or in person. They can do it over the phone, but it really helps families know how to stretch those food dollars and you know, help make nutritious meals, good decisions on, you know, different things to feed their family.
They can even like do assessments to see, you know, like what kind of things are you guys eating now? What things, you know, do you maybe need to bring into your diet? Because it's like nutrition's hard. You know, when you really start digging into nutrition, it can be hard. It can be like overwhelming to think like, okay, like these macros and these like all these different diets that people talk about, and what's the right thing for me, and what should I be doing for my kiddo? And you know, we talk about like growing children, and you know, maybe I'm on a diet because I want to lose weight, but that's not what I need for my kids.
Right.
And so I feel like this program and what you're talking about now with nutrition and going to actually meet with someone and sit down with someone and really talk about that education and what's right for my kid and our family, and get the right information, I guess.
Yeah, and it's casual. I mean, like, no pressure.
Yeah.
They're working, meeting you where you are, and
absolutely.
Doing, fitting that in with your lifestyle.
Right.
And
it's
your
what we
family.
talked about. It's like you don't jump in like head first into like the deep end if you can't swim, because you might drown.
Right.
And so we want to set you up for success, and I think that's the same with this program.
Those little changes make a difference, and
absolutely.
So, I wanted to let's see. So April.
Yep.
At ISU Extension. So she's April K at iastate.edu, or you can call her at the ISU Extension office.
I love the ISU Extension. They have so many awesome resources as well.
Yeah, wealth of information and knowledge. And if you've ever gotten on their website, it's Explore. It's incredible. On their website, they have a Spend Smart, Eat Smart program too, and that helps with planning, shopping, cooking, stretching those food dollars and making good choices.
Hanley and I went to, like, over the summer, they do a lot of like kid classes and things like that. And we actually went to one of their kids' like cooking classes, and it was really to teach kids how to like make their own healthy snacks and things throughout the summer. Like, if mom and dad aren't available, don't grab the thing of Oreos. What healthier snacks can you like make, and how can you make it fun? And she still talks about that. That was like 3 years ago that we went to that, and she still talks about it. She's like, are they doing another one of those this summer? I'm like, I don't know, Han, it's January. Like, I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do tomorrow.
Right.
But she still loves talking about that, and they do offer really great resources there. So make sure you check out their website and contact April and find out how they can help you out. I think also, like, we're in Iowa. It's freezing cold. Right. We're even like cold inside Hy-Vee because it's so cold outside right now, And I think like when we think about finding like fresh fruits and vegetables, luckily we're sitting like in the middle of this produce section right now, and there's a lot of yummy fruits and vegetables, but it can be a tall order for some folks. And, getting those things and making sure that they're affordable and it's something that people can fit in their budget and all of those things. Can you talk a little bit about the Iowa State Outreach Program and how they kind of like try to reduce some of those food costs and stuff across the state, some of those insecurities?
Well, that's kind of what we were talking about before was the Buy, Eat, Live Healthy program. And,
so they're doing things like setting up the budget.
Yeah, so they do, and they in the Spend Smart, Eat Smart has an app even that can, you can walk around the grocery store. I think that's what I was hoping.
Yeah, that app is.
Yeah, and it talks about, it's like a budget calculator, a food calculator, and it's dollars to units, and it really gets into detail about how you can, best utilize your money and get those healthy foods. Yeah, and so. Check it out. It's pretty cool. It is.
For anyone to have, but being able to kind of utilize the money in the best way for those healthy foods and what's the best things to eat and the most affordable fruits and vegetables at that time. There's a lot of resources out there that kind of say, okay, well, right now strawberries might not be the best thing for you in Iowa to try to buy because they might be more expensive right now.
Yeah, they're not in season.
And so but you can still afford a fruit, and you can maybe hop over to banana,
and there's recipes too that you can check out. So
absolutely. So you kind of touched on this a little bit when we were talking about going to well visits and things like that, but one of the things with winter that happens a lot, I think, with folks is like those winter blues. Like, we all get cooped up in our houses, even kids, they're cooped up inside. They're not getting the sunshine that they're used to getting and being able to play outside with friends as much. Hopefully on some of the warmer winter days, they get to go outside and play in the snow. But like today, it's like, oh gosh, get inside as soon as possible.
Right.
I know, like, what's the best way to kind of ward off those like winter blues and, you know, the holiday pounds that we've all kind of put on, and kind of keep active during some of these winter months. I don't know, when it's cold outside and we're freezing.
It's really hard to, you know.
And how do we involve our kiddos in doing that?
Right. You know, one thing that's important is, you know, I find myself doing it. I think we're all guilty of that screen time. And so we're,
especially in the winter, it's like, what are we going to do? Okay, well, I don't know, you're bored here.
Playing games, scrolling through, whatever. But, you know, as parents or caregivers, we're our kids' favorite toy, you know, so you kind of have to lead by example, but that interaction is so important, and you know, just kind of role modeling different things to do, and a lot of it is like, you know, there's nothing to do, but they're, you know, simple things like building a blanket fort around the house. You know, if you want to go online, look for exercise videos. There's you know, so many that you can do with your kids, or they can do alone. You know, you can build a little obstacle course in the house. You know, for little you know, toddlers. You know, they might help with, you know, they like to play with water, so, you know, that helps with, you know, developing those motor skills, dumping water from one container to another container. They can build things with marshmallows and toothpicks, and that helps with those fine motor skills. You know, do a scavenger hunt, hide things around, sort things by category, you know, and have your child pick out what doesn't belong, and, you know, then have them take their turn. That teaches taking turns, and, you know, the problem solving skills.
Get out those board games that have collected dust over the, you know, warm months when we're all out busy. I think one of the things, like, as a parent, it drives you bonkers, but it's also pretty cool. Like, when you spend all this money on like a toy or something like that, or like this big present, and then they just end up playing with like the box. Well, that happened to us.
That box is fun.
And so, I mean, even Hanley, who's, you know, 11, she just turned 11, my baby's 11. You know, she sat with Pearson and Boone, and they, you know, made this big box that we had into like this huge boat, and they colored. I mean, they were hanging out and playing for hours. Coloring their boat, playing inside their boat, like hanging out, and it was cool to see them really use their imaginations, where like
playing,
sometimes
but
it's
they're
hard
learning at the same time. And
absolutely. So, you know, grab out some of those old boxes, or, you know, stop and find one somewhere if you have to. But those things
job,
are,
Mom. You're just providing those opportunities for creativity and learning, and making all those connections. And on the screen they're kind of consuming somebody else's creativity. But when
use it now,
when they've got their hands on, you know, boxes and
crayons and markers,
pasta noodles, and whatever.
I also love the other example about like letting them help with creating the menu for the week. You know, what do you want to eat? Okay, well, you want just mac and cheese all week long. Okay, how can we you know, how can we take that, and that teaches them, you know, how to make a menu and how to make it healthy.
And then that's when you introduce, you know, the new foods, you know, give them choices, so, you know, have something that they really like, and then, you know, something a little different, or maybe, you know, choose between two things that are a little different, but, you know, again, that's that development part of, you know, making choices, so they're learning autonomy, and you know,
absolutely,
you know, and then, you know, exposed to just different foods, and
I think just as parents, the most important thing to remember, and I always try to remind friends, and it's really hard I try to remind myself, is like, we're just all doing the best we can. And try to remember that, and reach out to these resources, these great resources we have in our community, like public health. Reach out to Kathleen. She can help, you know, direct you to the right resources if needed. The other folks at Public Health are amazing. ISU, you know, all of these amazing resources in town. If you need the ideas, the websites are amazing, and, you know, just use some of those resources that we have available at our fingertips to get those ideas. So nobody's perfect, and we're all just doing the best we can. And small changes make a difference.
Yeah.
Those are the things I learned today,
Yep.
right?
And see, and we're continuing to learn.
Yep.
And that's all you can do. You know, that's like
Yep.
the point of everything is just learning.
Yep.
And then when you know better, you just do that.
better. Yeah.
Do that thing.
Yep, do that thing. Well, thank you so much for coming on and
Thank
for
you.
everything you guys do out in the community, for all the resources, for my new water bottle.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I'll use that, and my daughter will try to steal it because she's
Also-
obsessed with water bottles.
Also very healthy. Push
Yes,
the water.
yes. But I appreciate you coming on today and offering so many resources for the community. We're going to go to a quick break. We have Scott coming on next. He's over leaned up against the cherry tomatoes, just waiting. He's just itching to get on here and talk to us about some wellness stuff today. So thank you again.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to talking to Scott next. So hold on and enjoy some of these commercials from some of our awesome sponsors. We'll be right back in just a minute. Thank you so much.
We just don't work out in a single plane of motion.
With a gorgeous tan, it's easy to be your sunny social self while hanging with friends, even the furry ones. Let yourself shine at Suntan City.
We wanted to bring the atmosphere that we create for a shopping experience at the barn to the streets of Coralville. People love to come to Iowa River Landing for eating, drinking, meeting with their friends, and we want to give them a place to find unique home essentials and experience a one-of-a-kind opportunity to style your home with unique quality goods. R7 Coralville is open daily, so you can shop when you want. R7's hours in Coralville are Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7, and Sunday from noon to 4. You'll find R7 right on the main street of Iowa River Landing with 3 parking ramps and on-street parking nearby to make finding us simple for you. Our small town roots of R7 lean toward hospitality. And right here in Coralville, you're going to find the R7 crew making you feel at home while you shop.
Hello! All right. I was having like a mini session
Yes.
right before I was explaining to Scott. So I think this is important. It's an important part of we were talking, you know, like people get off track, things happen in life, all sorts of stuff happens where you fall off the wagon. Sometimes you get ran over by the wagon that you fell off of. All sorts of stuff happens. And this has happened to me in recent months. I fell off, I got ran over, then it backed up and like re-ran over me again. And I actually said I'm like, I have got to get back to Impact on a regular basis. I need it. Like, I was so much better when I was there on a regular basis. And so he was trying to bribe me with my apparel that I've been wanting so badly.
Yes.
But I'm like, I already have it on my calendar, so I'm coming. But it's true. Like, I think beginning of the year for a lot of people, it already is that. But a lot of things just like come up in life sometimes, and it throws you off, and then you just have to find your way back.
Yeah,
and get back on.
life gets in the way, and we totally understand that. And you know, I think there's a lot more discussions around mental health as well.
Yep.
And you know, any form of workout benefits you physically.
Yeah.
But people, I think we gloss over the mental health aspects.
Yeah.
The endorphins that are released, the natural
Yes.
endorphins, all those natural feel goods that you get that workout high.
Yeah,
And
I'm like, I don't even think it matters what class I go to. It's just like going, it's getting a little physical activity, but I think it was like, for me, it's like right now it's the mental health part.
Yes.
Just getting back there, getting going, doing something for myself, having a mommy moment, I call them, like where it's just like, okay, this is like me. This is like what I need for myself. And we have to not feel guilty about that, and we have to do that, and I'm gonna like get back into that frame of mind again.
That's the hard part, and I think you know there's a couple things you said there. One, I don't want to feel guilty.
Yeah.
We get guilt heaped on us unnecessarily
Yeah.
from outside forces, from our own inside being that, you know, and then that reflects again into our mental health, even into our nutrition.
Yep.
Oh, I had that, insert food that
Chocolate cake.
and say that chocolate cake, that chocolate donut, and then all of a sudden we feel guilty, and then it was like, okay, I got to work out harder.
Yeah.
No, that's not the way it works.
Or my day is just ruined now, so I might as well eat 10 chocolate donuts.
Exactly, you might exactly, and so yeah, it is a very vicious cycle.
It is.
And now, I'm the owner of Impact Athletic Performance, but as a coach, sort of that tough love type of deal, that whichever class you come into, I basically tell you, I don't really care what happened before you stepped into the doors of Impact Fitness and Nutrition now, because since we've changed our name.
Yep.
I don't care what happens after you go out, or after you leave and go into the real world. Part of me does.
Yeah.
But for this hour, I want your focus on what you're doing, because
Yep.
if you're thinking about something else,
Yeah.
you're not thinking about the mechanics of the movement,
Yep.
and you're not being present.
Yeah.
And that can be detrimental to you. You could
Yeah.
lift wrong if you're not thinking. And so, yeah, it's that tough love portion of it,
Yep.
the mental health, everything. For that hour, just be present.
Yep. It's important. And I think that kind of leads into what we're sort of talking about today a little bit too, is like the assessment portion when you
Yes.
first come in, and making sure you're doing things the right way and that you're present, and all of those things. So we'll kind of start digging right in. It's Wellness Wednesday on the show today, if you haven't already caught on. It's Wednesday, if you haven't caught on to that, for some of us who are completely insane right now, like me. I literally can't even like do my hair and not have my freaking hair ties break in the middle of the show. Like, that's life right now, Scott. But we're gonna move on.
Yes, we are.
And we're going to talk about how when you start at Impact, even sometimes down the road. So, like for me, I can only assume when I jump back on the wagon and I head back into Impact, that I might need to like kind of reassess. Like, where am I at again? You know, because I had built up, and so I can't like jump back into Impact and then like grab the same bags that I was at when I left. After all these things happened, you know, I need to kind of reassess. Okay, where am I at? You know, and I may kind of move up quicker than I did the first time, but I need to reassess. And the assessment portion is kind of what we're talking about. a little bit.
Exactly, and Autumn has done a great job in regards to the social media aspect, getting our name out there more and more places. And quite honestly, they're not necessarily resolutioners. I don't want to put that label on the people, but we have been getting a lot more pull through as of late. We get emails all the time. Well, what are your prices? I'd like to know more.
Yeah.
And so when we get that information, we don't even talk price right at the beginning, because we create value in how we treat you.
Yeah.
And we want you to come in, we want you to understand what Impact is all about, and we want to put you through this movement assessment.
Yep.
Because this movement assessment is for both myself and for you.
Yep.
We want to be able to talk about, you know, your workout history, what injuries do you have, compensatory movements, and I joke sometimes, are you part android? People have accidents. Maybe there's they have pins and screws in their ankles or in their wrist because of previous injuries. So we talk all about this.
Yep.
We had a woman come in last week. Excuse me, just an athlete, whether man or a woman. We had an athlete come in last week, very emotional about the entire process. That's great, because there's this innate feeling that this person wanted to do something, but she was so scared to come in. Just walking through the doors was a huge moment for her. As we started discussing her background and what we do, you could just see the tension and the emotion kind of drop away and getting relaxed. And that's our goal. So, we talk about all these things, and when we come back from the break, I'm going to put you through our movement assessment. Yeah. If I don't know anything about you and I put you through these movements, I want to know, do you work through your right hip more than your left hip? That tells me as we get into workouts, I have to pay attention to that. When we handle our classes, I don't work out. I may do one round with everybody because everybody's a visual learner, but my job is to watch you. Are you doing the movement correctly? I can work out anytime. So this is not just me leading everybody. But that's the exciting thing about our assessments. It takes, I tend to talk a little bit more during our assessment than what Autumn wants. I know, me. But that's my New Year's resolution, try to get streamlined. But I want to know about you. Yeah. And so it takes roughly 20 to 30 minutes just to go through these movements. We laugh, and if I don't know, fall over sometimes. If I don't know how you move, I can't train you properly. Yep. So we can always modify movements based off of any problems that you have. So that's the fun. That's the fun part of
that's what we're gonna
meeting
do, right?
new people. Yeah, I know she is. I hope she heard me give her a shout out right at the beginning.
He did. He gave you a shout out, Autumn, right away. He used the right new name right away. Yes. He used it. He did great. And he even has his New Year's resolution. He said it.
Yes.
Right away.
Absolutely.
All the good things.
All the good things.
She's so proud.
Yes, I hope so. And like I said, so it's a great icebreaker because it's our job. Our job to show you the value of what we do.
Well, sometimes it's super awkward when you jump into a class and you're like, how do I fit in that, I had breast cancer, and it's hard for me, it was a lot harder, I will admit, before I started doing classes, but to lift my hands above my head and do some of these things because I had surgeries. But it's awkward to just bring that up in class in front of everyone. Yeah. Whereas when I had this assessment, we were able to kind of talk about that, and you knew my story, but you didn't know that surgery made me, that was something that I noticed right away. And I was a cheerleader, in high school, and I didn't expect that, I wasn't going to have the balance I had, that I had back then. I was a flyer, and I was up there on one leg, doing all these rah-de-dahs, but I, a lot of things change. And so it was nice to have that time that was one-on-one, where I could kind of bring up those things and you could kind of bring up things with me, and you weren't in front of this huge class of people, dang girl, you got a lot of issues. we are. Nobody's like that there, just so you know, but that's how it feels when you first come somewhere. You're like, oh gosh, what are these people going to think?
Exactly. I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to be called out.
So I love the
assessment be this
for that reason too.
When our classes are getting bigger, and when we see those class sizes get bigger, and we know we have some newer individuals that are coming in, Autumn and I can tag team. But yeah, when we work out, we're ego driven. Yep. We know what we used to be able to do. Right. And when we get over that ego, and I can convince you we're going to start off at a lower weight so I can set you up for success, then we can ramp up the weights a little bit, then it's for your enjoyment.
Right.
Because the last thing we want you to do is struggle. And quite honestly, coming into this new year, that's why we offer one free week.
Yeah.
Not just one class. People have fallen in love with Impact in one class.
Yep.
But now let's get you Monday through Friday. Let's give you unlimited access to everything that we have so you can become comfortable.
Yep.
And that's proven extremely beneficial
Yep.
so far. So we're trying to break down those barriers.
Yep.
Of, oh, I'm afraid, I don't want to, I'll just work out here in the corner. There are people that know kind of what to do, but then there's the people that want to have the help with programming.
Right.
And that's where we come in, and that's where our challenge to you comes in.
Yep.
So.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think we're going to go to a quick little break so that we can kind of get set up and get ready so that he can kind of show you what an assessment looks like so that you know what things he's going to look for, what things you should look for even. If you're starting to work out on your own at home, at least be prepared. You should come to Impact for sure and hang out with us. But if you don't want to, if you're going to jump in and do stuff at home, just make sure that you do that the right way and make sure that you're watching for these things so that you don't hurt yourselves for sure. So we'll be right back in just a second and we'll do some moving.
Yes, we will.
All right.
It's time for an update from the Not So Late Show with Austin, brought to you by Unity Point Health.
Listen up, everyone. I've got some news. Things are still kind of crazy out there, and the pandemic is still going on. And it's hard to keep people healthy. And right now, things are really tough for healthcare workers. There are a lot of people needing help with their health. They are working very hard. They're tired. And they are working extra shifts. Well, that would be like when you just get right out of school. You have to go back and do it all over again. Ugh. So there's something you need to know. It's time to be kind. Healthcare workers are doing the best they can to help you. They just need your help too. Take care of yourself however you can with your vaccinations and your healthy habits. But if you get sick, go see your doctor. If you have to wait, be patient. Be a patient patient. They're real people just like you. And do you know why they're working so hard? For you. So show them a little love, or at least a little bit of kindness. That's one way we can all feel better. Okay, that's all I've got, everyone. Stay safe out there and remember to be kind to healthcare workers.
This has been a special update from the Not So Late Show with Austin. Good night. We'll see you next time.
We're back. All right.
Yes. So first off, when you walk in through the doors at Impact, we encourage barefoot training.
Yep.
And people kind of look at you strange,
Right.
going, barefoot? Yeah. This will become very self-evident when we move into our new place in the mall. We'll have turf as our main workout area, which adds to the programming availability for what we can do. But we prefer barefoot programming because our shoes lie to us.
Yeah.
You think about, oh, I have arch problems or plantar fasciitis and all of these. When a podiatrist would say, oh, you need orthotics, that's the easy way out.
Sure.
If you think this is your arch and you have an orthotic come in and go right here, we have immediate relief. However, over time, that arch gets weaker because it doesn't have to work.
Right.
So we want to be able to use the foot, be able to use the ground to our benefit. Now, we'll do some learning, and I'll cue you after we do our assessment. We'll go through a quick version of it. We may do both sides, but we'll get through this just in the interest of time.
Yep.
So we live in a 3D world. And when you think of the planes of motion, anytime we're walking forward, so walking, running, lifting, anything, that is the sagittal plane.
Yep.
Now, as we're going side to side, think back junior high school. In high school when you're dancing like this,
When you're dancing with your...
exactly, the zombie dance. This is our frontal plane.
Yep.
Then we have our transverse or our rotational plane. Golfers, this is where we are in our rotational plane. Or think about as we're driving and we're at a stoplight being safe and we reach back over here. Hey, this is a rotational movement. So we have these 3 planes. We live, we work, why not work out in 3 different planes?
Yeah.
So we start out in the plane that we know the best. That's our sagittal plane. And what I'm going to have you do,
Okay.
which side do you think is going to be your most stable side? You're right-handed, correct?
Right-handed.
Uh-huh. Do you think you're going to be more stable on your right side or left side?
I
Miss
think on my
former
right.
cheerleader.
I think on my right.
Okay. And so that's the first question I usually ask. So we're going to start you on your left side, your perceived weaker or less stable side.
Okay.
So what I want you to do is and you can see we're both barefoot. I hope you can see that. That we're going to move in a pattern that as you step forward with your right, then the hands go back behind us. So we come here and we move opposite feet and hands. And so what I'm doing is I'm looking how your body's reacting and more importantly, how your foot is performing. Now, what I'm going to have you do is I now want you to hover that toe about 6 inches off the ground and 6 inches back here. Now everything's slowed down and then go forward. So we're going to go back and forth. Yep. And then go here. All right. Now let's go to the other side. Right side, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to and touch first. Yep, there we go. We're just going to touch. And for me, I'm walking around. I'm watching how you are doing your particular movement. And then now I want you to hover that toe in front and back. You're just going to keep moving back and forth. Okay, and so what I'm noticing is left side is a little less stable than the other. Right side is, as you said, that you feel that your right side is more stable. What I want to have you do now, and is this a quick fix? Potentially, but it's also some learning as we go forward. We're going to work on this left side a little bit. I want you to feel as if you're a big bird on a big branch.
I'm a big bird?
You are a big bird on a big branch.
Okay.
So what does that mean? That I want you to be able to squeeze the ground with your toe, all 5 toes, and your heel. Now, this creates strength through the arch, but it also creates stability. You think about a 3-legged stool, and our stool is this portion, and here, okay? If we lose this portion of the stool, now you're trying to sit on a 2-legged stool, and we get really, really wobbly. So, we're gonna repeat this assessment. We're gonna go in this sagittal plane. We're gonna work through that left foot. I want you to grab this concrete like it's a, think wet sandy beach. and you were just there. You were just there in recent weeks.
I'm in the sand.
And so yes. And so I want you to grab the ground with your toes and your heel, and you're going to do that same movement going here and here. We're training our body in regards to what we're doing. Now, when you were doing this originally, that right toe was coming up. And so that would create instability. Like I said, this isn't going to be a quick fix.
Yeah.
But over time, when you learn the combination of using your foot and then using our midsection, our trunk, if anybody tells you, what is your core, and somebody tells you it's your abs, run the other way.
Yeah.
Our core is about 35, 36 different groups of muscles, from your lats down to your hamstring. So our goal is to be able to utilize all those as a group to be able to create better stability. And that's where, one, we want to keep good tension midsection, our mid-trunk, but we're also going to work through our feet. Our hands are the same way. When we do push-ups, when we do planks, we grab the ground to be able to create proper tension up through the arms, into the shoulders to be strong. Now, we had talked sagittal plane. We're going to work frontal plane now. We don't do this a lot. We're going to work on this left side. So where we're going to go is you're going to step across with your right, hands go opposite, and then we come back this way. If you're standing on a phone pad and we're standing on number 5, this is crossing over to the 4 and the 6. Now what I'll ask you to do is I want you to hover that foot as it goes to that side and come back to this side.
Yay!
So what we begin to notice is that, yes,
My face. How's my face look, guys?
because we don't work out laterally.
Do I look like I'm like
at all?
Really trying?
There you go. All right, let's go to the right side.
Okay.
Yep, so we're going to step over to 6 and then step over to 4. There you go. So do this about 3 times each side, touching your toe. And like I said, this is a very sped up version of what we do. And now I want you to hover.
Woo!
So we're trying to create authentic moves as far as our test, which is the workout. The workout is the test. So, our hips are our greatest asset for strength. Abductors on the outside, adductors, which are our groin, the groin
Hips
muscle.
don't lie.
And then the glutes.
Yeah.
So when we can get those strong, our ability to be more stable becomes much more noticeable. Now, that was our frontal plane. We're going to work in the rotational plane or the transverse plane. And what that means is that if we're going to be stepping, and I have people visualize our phone pad. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're standing on 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We're going to go zombie time right here. And our hands follow our feet. So we step over to 1 and open up to 9. So we do this, 1 and 9. So what I look for here is how our hips are operating, both internal rotation and external rotation, and how our stability is, obviously. Now, here's
Would I make a good zombie? Yes or no?
let the community decide.
Let me know.
So now, I'm going to really test you. I want you to hover over the 1.
I knew you were going to make me do that.
Hover over the 1, hover over the 9.
Yikes!
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then exactly. And let's go over to the right side real quick. We'll evaluate that. Then we'll talk a little bit more.
Okay. So I'm going this way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There you go. And as I mentioned, when when we're at the studio, I'm walking around. I'm evaluating how hips are functioning, how the feet are functioning. Now, are you able to bring this left foot and cross it over to the 3? There it is. Yeah, good. Yep. And now I want you to hover that toe. So we're going to hover over the 3, hover over the 7. Mm-hmm. The world slows down a little bit.
Now I look like a zombie.
All right.
Zombie!
Exactly. And so, there again, when you think about when we're walking, why is an assessment on one leg so important? When we walk and our gait, which is one of our primal movements, we're on one foot or one leg 80% of the time.
Yeah.
When we're running, we're on one leg 100% of the time. So, a bilateral squat is good. Can we progress into something more that creates an unstable foot pattern, like a sprinter stance as far as doing a squat? Can we work one leg over the other? That's what we start evaluating. And so if we know the left side is really incredibly unstable, we may not work that one side immediately. We want to get you bilaterally, meaning our normal stance, but then we're going to start sneaking up into this workout. What happens with our body is that if that left side isn't functioning properly, maybe we've had an injury on that side, what happens is the other side starts working for it. Says, I got you, buddy. Let me take care of you. Besties, and it quickly turns into frenemies. Because what happens is that if you were to start doing squats, all of a sudden, and we're going to do this test real quick, that if you start working into this right side, and I've had one person come to me, did a lot of squats, and all of a sudden could barely walk. Well, with this evaluation, we found out that this athlete worked too hard through one side, overused, in this case, overused the right side. So we have to get that person out of the right side, start working the left side more, getting glutes, getting everything active here. That's the importance of an assessment, because if I just throw you into a workout, I don't know any backstory to you, or why you're going to move. I don't want to be caught off guard. The last thing that we look at are 3 different movements with the hips. Now, the first one will be our ability to tuck the hips, and more, I don't want to say medical terms, but more biological terms, it's called anterior and posterior tuck. And so what we're going to do is a little bit of twerking here. I know, we're going to twerk. What we're going to do is that I want soft knees. This is a little bit of a golfer stance, so you're in a slight hinge.
I'm quite the golfer.
And then I'm going to have you cross your hands right over your shoulders, and what I want you to do is be able to move the hips back, and you're almost dumping your belly button, your gut, your your belly button to the ground. You're going to get a wonderful stretch through this low back. We live here. We live here when we're sitting a bunch. Now, what I want to instruct you is that I want you to be able to pull the hips underneath. So pull them underneath. Yeah, okay. And then go back into anterior tilt. Yep. And then pull them underneath. And then go back. And pull them underneath. Yeah.
I'm a little creaky.
You're a little creaky.
That's a little creaky.
And that's called shake and bake. It's the connection. It's the connection.
It's a shake and bake twerk.
Exactly.
Shake and bake twerk.
We're trying to connect central
nervous system. We're making up new stuff here on the show today.
The brain and the hips, they have to get that neural pathway performing better. And so why is this important?
I'm going to ask Hanley tonight.
You what?
I'm going to ask Hanley that tonight. Have you ever seen the shake and bake twerk?
Oh boy. That we want, and so why is this important? When we lift, when we do deadlifts, when we do squats, when we go overhead, we want to be in a neutral spine. If we live here and we can only move our spine into what is actually neutral, we're still working out in this anterior tilt type of body position, and we can still be injured. So there again, now, if I were to tell you, Ashley, when we do this workout, I want your hips in neutral, and you go, okay, I remember I was here, and I only come to here. If I can't get you in the best neutral position as possible, I can. What your body will do is start working through the low back. You're gonna be sore, and you're not really going to enjoy the workout.
Right.
So then it's my job. Okay, these are some extra stretches I want you to be able to do during the work day, and even during the workout, to be able to create that tuck underneath. So hip health, absolutely important. The other one real quick is we're going to get back into our stance.
Okay.
And this is called I just want to see if I can disassociate. Exactly. I want to see if you can disassociate your upper body to your hips.
Okay.
Your hips are a mobile joint, low back is stable,
Okay.
thoracic spine is a mobile joint.
Okay.
So now I want you to keep the hips still,
Oh.
and I want you to rotate the shoulders. So we're going to rotate them
Oh, this
right
one.
here. Yeah. Yep. And so
So
now,
don't shake my tail feather.
exactly. So now let's hold the shoulders still, and I want you to rotate the hips.
I'm much better at shaking my tail feather than keeping it still.
Yes. Now, and what I look for is, do you wag the dog like this, or you wag the tail like this, or do you actually rotate?
Uh-oh. What
I'm
do I
also, what I'm, it's a combination of both.
Combination. Perfect.
And so what I'm also looking for are the shoulders moving. So let's go ahead and do that one more time. I'm going to hold your shoulders,
Okay.
and you're going to rotate. So we still have a little wag going on.
Okay.
The mobility is there. Where we lack is stability. So that's when we can get our strong hips, strong shoulders that allow us to be able to do this independently, or do this in a very good manner. When we have low back pain, it's because one of the reasons, not the sole reason, but one of the reasons, is that the low back, our lumbar spine, is looking at our hips and looking up to our thoracic spine and basically saying, get your stuff together, because if I'm doing this, trying to hold both of them still, that means they don't have that disassociation. I want to be able to hold these hips. I want to be able to go right here. That takes the pressure off the low back and can lead to a better life of, I'm not going to say eliminate back pain.
Right.
It will reduce it, and it'll get things stronger that need to be strong. So that is as quick as I can do version, as thorough of a version, to be able to talk why we do assessments,
Yep.
what those assessments look like. Then that translates, and I left my form over there. Chris, can you grab that form real quick? So, thank you. So, I'll protect the name. But we have this form. We talk about your workout interests. You talk about your goals. Do you have, what is your stability like? Where are your issues? Are you part Android in the ankle? We take these into account as we talk to everybody.
Sure.
And that just helps us having a frame of reference. As the membership continues to grow, I don't want to have to really remember everybody. Over time I do,
Right.
of where compensations lie.
Yep.
So, but there again, that's our assessment process very quickly. There's two other ones that we look at: shoulder mobility, ankle mobility. Poor performance in squats really leads to poor ankle mobility. And how one can affect the chain all the way up. So, like I said, as thorough as we can do in 20 to 30 minutes, but it gives a great introductory story
Yep.
for me and for you. These things are not meant to embarrass anybody. We've
Yep.
had people fall over, I mean, not on the floor, but lose their balance.
Lose their balance. Yep.
And then when
Not me.
when we
I didn't.
reassess at a particular time, maybe 6 months or a year later, they can do these and they go, remember when you almost fell over? Yeah. Well, you're not falling over anymore.
Yep.
We do these in personal training. A lot more in depth for personal training, because you're going to be trained differently than Jessica, than Chris, than my wife Autumn, than anybody else here. If there's 200 people in the store right now, there's 200 different ways to move.
Yeah.
We don't want to peanut butter spread everything over everybody. That's not effective.
Yeah.
So,
Makes sense.
yeah.
So come and have your assessment.
Yeah, it's a free assessment. I mean, if you want to learn more, set up a time with us.
Yeah.
We talk about movement, we talk about nutrition, we talk about all things impact. We try to get this done in an hour. We want to know your story, but we try to get this done in an hour so you can understand what Impact is all about and how we can be benefit to you.
I feel like I just won a game or something.
I know, right?
Winner!
Winner! So, yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming on.
You
I
bet.
love Wellness Wednesdays. I love to be able to get up behind the table, and move around. So thank you guys for joining us. It was a big Wellness Wednesday this week, but I hope you guys learned a lot. And I hope you also remember to tune in tomorrow because we have another really cool show and some more great guests for tomorrow. But until then, remember that kindness is free, so spread that stuff wherever you go.
Here at Trinity Muscatine, we believe it's important to be strong supporters of our local community.
And that's why we donate thousands upon thousands of dollars to local Muscatine charities each year.
It's the reason why all of our employees are local to the area and have a vested interest in our community.
Even Daisy and Dilly keep it local by visiting the local dog park.
So remember, when you shop Trinity Muscatine, you're not only sure to get great service, but you're here also supporting local.
Here at Trinity Muscatine,